Good morning, apartment. Good morning, doorway. Good morning, wall. Good morning, ceiling. Good morning, floor. Ready to start the day.
Hey, it's the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast, and good morning. It's 11:01 Eastern, and then you do the math for your time zones. Welcome in. I'm Ron Ross. With me, executive producer and my cohort in crime, John Uglinski. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Okay, so with this podcast now that we have put together, I want to let you know that ask you to please share it. Share it with your friends and share it with people that listen to the show or might get a kick out of it. Just get the word out. Invite your friends, invite your family or whatever, and they can hang out with us as well and share into the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast and all the games and fun that we're going to have and discussions. By the way, it is available. I don't know if you noticed this last week after our first podcast, that it's available everywhere. It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google. We're live streaming on YouTube right now and on Facebook. And it wherever you get your favorite pod player, that's where we're going to be. Good morning, Jennifer. Okay. All right. This brings up a really good point. And that is the first thing I wanted to do is things I learned from my podcast from last
Here we
week.
go. All right.
I've never done a podcast before. Okay. I've always just been on the air. I haven't been on a screen with a live video feed. And so as the comments were flying by and I'm just throwing them out there, hey, good morning. Hey, it's good to see you, blah, blah, blah. Then I realized after I talked to John is that you got to remember this is in some of these places it's going to be audio only. And so I'm just in the middle of talking and then just go stream of consciousness. Hey, Beth, how's it going? And then somebody who's listening has no idea what I'm talking about.
But
So
don't stop commenting because of that.
Oh, yeah. Keep commenting.
Keep commenting.
All
it's
right,
okay to comment. We'll just throw your comments up on the screen.
That's on me. That's on me. I will address it, but I will also make sure that I set up the stage for the audio portion of the podcast. Also, the thing that I noticed, the other thing that I learned from last week, when you're on the air and you do a show, you sit down with your boss for quality control and you do what's called an air check. And you go back and I just got a comment from Beth who said, hey, I'm doing great. So that's good. Okay. You go back and you listen to your show and you listen to the things that you say and how you say it. And you get together and commiserate with your boss. And they go through it with you and say, hey, maybe you can focus on this, or maybe you're not so distracted by 5,000 other things and stick to the point, stick to one point. So that's one of the things I noticed last week when I air checked myself, and I air checked with John. John gave me some tips as well that I have a lot of uhs. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm trying really hard not to a lot as I'm thinking of what I'm going to say. Now I'm just going to give you a little bit of silence while I think of what I'm going to say.
Nice.
And try to stay away from the us. Because I realized in regular conversation, see, there was one snuck right in there. In normal conversation, when I'm having a conversation with the greatest wife ever or a bunch of friends, when we were sitting around the campfire, we were camping this weekend. I'll get into that in just a minute. Oh, see, tangent alert. Is I don't say a lot in a normal conversation. So it's only when I'm in a setting like this where I want to come up with something to say and I'm giving myself some time to think of it. And that's where the uhs come from. So I'm working on it and we're just going to improve. And hopefully maybe I'll learn something from this one. And then next week's going to be even better and better. But we thank you so much. We got a lot of great feedback from the podcast from last week. And we will get into a lot of great things for this week as well. We've got a question of the day that's going to be happening. And I've got some big, fat, hairy news that I will tell you a little bit later on in the show. So it was Memorial Day yesterday. And for the weekend, Greatest Wife Ever and I got away and we went camping. We love to camp. We went out with a bunch of friends. So it was multiple families at multiple sites. And we're tent campers. I think everybody else was tent campers as well. We do have some people in our family who use a camper or an RV. And that was actually one of the questions that I put up on the Facebook page. Let me see if I can get that over here and look at some of your comments if we can.
Would you like some scrolling music or something?
Yes, we need some scrolling music for camping, because now what we did, it was interesting, because when we're camping with a bunch of family and friends, is we split up the duties for breakfast. Lunch is usually you're on your own. You eat like a sandwich or whatever, you snack, or throw a hot dog on the fire, and then dinner, and then families divvy up who's going to be doing what dinner. And this year it was interesting. Usually I like to barbecue chicken on the grill, or we'll do steaks or just burgers and dogs, whatever. But it's usually over an open fire. However, one of our friends, Jason, who you saw sing the Friday song with me on Friday, he has got this huge gas grill, propane tank, a big normal size propane tank, and it's a flat top, cast iron flat top. And I love cooking on that. So breakfast was on that. Had just huge, multiple pieces of bacon, just big spatula, flipping everything. I loved it. Cooking eggs to order. But the families this year, as we were divvying up the dinners, we tried to think kind of outside the box. So it wasn't just chicken. It wasn't just beef or steak or whatever, but it was something a little different. So Greatest Wife Ever's idea this year was to actually do steak and cheese. And not because we had been in Philadelphia. She had the idea before that. Before we weren't trying to do a Philly cheesesteak. We were doing in Maryland, we call it it's a steak and cheese. So it was, you can have provolone or Swiss or whatever. And I got these steaks.
Wait, what?
What?
I got to stop you. Wait, what do you mean in Maryland we call it a steak and cheese? What is that?
Steak and cheese sub. It's not called a cheesesteak.
I never heard of that.
It's a steak and cheese.
What kind
Go
of
look
cheese
at any restaurant around here. It's a steak and cheese. It's not called a cheesesteak.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that then excuse the using of the green peppers on it and things like that, and things that don't belong on cheesesteaks?
Okay, hang on. See, John's from Philadelphia. All right. And here's the deal, John.
Yes.
I sat and talked with the bass player who plays in this band, actually. It's Sean K. Preston and the Loaded Pistols. Sean is from Baltimore, but the bass player, Corey McGrath, is from Philadelphia. So we're sitting outside during band break, and I'm just chatting with him. I said, so listen, we're going to go to Philadelphia. Do I get a cheese with the cheese whiz, or do you go? He's like, dude, don't let the snobs tell you what you want. Just get what you like. If you want provolone, get provolone. If you want peppers and onions, then you get peppers and onions. That's your.
Well, this is true, but then it's not a true steak and cheese. But you don't have to have whiz. You can have American
cheese, not cheesesteak.
And see, now you've got me confused.
Not my fault, man. It is not my fault.
It's not a real Philly cheesesteak if it doesn't have American cheese, and then you have whiz with or whiz without.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to make a Philly cheese.
No, that's cool. I was just trying to.
I was making a steak and cheese. There was steak. I had steak and cheese here in the Northeast. See, there you go. Stephanie just posted in one of her comments.
I didn't have to post a comment. I just did anyway.
It was. I had ribeye, and then I went and got some really, sirloin, but you have to really, really tenderize it. This is, of course, the symbol for me poking it with a fork.
Right.
A lot. Anyway, it was cooking it on the flat top. So it wasn't the traditional camping dinners that went on an open fire. And then our other friends had salmon, which was done on the flat top, which was so good. And then we had a salad. Somebody decided, hey, you know what? Let's have a healthy salad. But it was like the 5,000 things that you put on a salad that make it completely unhealthy. But it was a wonderful salad. And then the last night, yesterday, one of our friends did a low country boil, which was, I know, it was ridiculous.
I can dig that.
So good. It was so good. None of it went on the grill. It was great. She had a big pot and then boiled everything. It was, the potatoes were the best. But anyway, that's our camping story from Memorial Day weekend. I do want to take a minute, and I posted about this yesterday on Memorial Day, is let's pause for what the day is all about, because we always make a big fat hairy deal out of the fact that it is see, I said again, that it is the unofficial start of the summer, and that it's a 3-day weekend, and you get to the beach, you get to the pool, and pools are opening and so on. However, the real reason for Memorial Day, and sometimes people mix things up between Veterans Day, thank you for your service, and then Memorial Day. But Memorial Day are for the ones who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives in the service of our country. So I wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that and remember and realize what the day really is all about, and why we had a 3-day. And we had a veteran who was with us, and his father served as well. And so we talked a little bit about that. My Canadian friend, who's actually an American, served, but he served in the military in Canada and was in reserves. All right, so there you go. That's my Memorial Day story. Camping. It was freezing at night. It was in the 40s, John.
Yeah, it did. Actually, it got very. Yeah, see, I would have been like wimping out there. There has to be that comfort zone between freezing and boiling. Somewhere in the middle.
The days were perfect. The days never got past 72, 73, which is nice. Now, I'm not going swimming in the Lake Habib. We were at Rocky Gap. It's a Maryland State Park. I'm not going swimming in the lake because that's, again, it's ice cold. But there were a few people who braved it that I saw. But
it's refreshing. You didn't do the morning plunge?
No, there's nothing refreshing about that. I warned everybody who was there that as you get up first thing in the morning, and Grace wife Ever and I, either she was up first or I was up first. I got up first a couple of times, and you make the coffee. First thing you do is you make the coffee. So I've got coffee on the camp stove. We got one of those percolators that it's just the old school. Put the water in the bottom, put the coffee in the top, and this filter in the top, and then it just sucks up through, and it comes down through it's pretty cool. And so we make coffee, and then you sit around and you make a fire, and then we just sat around and drank coffee while whoever was making breakfast that morning would make breakfast a little bit later on. But I warned him, this is all I'm doing. I'm sitting here in front of this fire. Ron don't swim. Ron don't hike. Ron don't fish. I wasn't doing any of that. I'm sitting at this fire, and I'll tend the fire, and I'll cook when it's my turn. Other than that, this is what I'm doing. Although we did do geocaching. Have you ever done geocaching, John?
I've never done it. I've seen other folks who do it. Seems like fun.
We've talked about it on the show before, and if you've never heard of geocaching, what it is, it's an app on your phone, and people hide things, and it's called a geocache. Geo meaning Earth, cache CACHE, I think, which is it's a treasure, I think. So you hide it somewhere. It could be anywhere actually, and then you post on this website, and it gives you and you can give clues. You can post pictures if you want. And you rate it, terrain. Is the terrain 1 or 1.5 or 2? How hard is it to get to the geocache? And then the size. So there's can be big, small, mini, and then micro. And we found some micros, and then that's it. You go in your app, and it gives you the through your GPS. You just start triangulating your position and walking towards it, and then it beeps when you're within 10 feet, or your phone buzzes when you're within 10 feet. But it's give or take 15 feet. So when it says you're right on top of it, you got to look around and then find the geocache. So we went geocaching. There were a bunch around although we didn't find the last one, which I was a little bummed about, because I'm one of those guys when I'm geocaching, and it's like, okay, I'm here. Look. Nah, it's not fun anymore. And then I walked away.
Squirrel. Yeah. Right. Did you find anything interesting? What was the coolest thing that was hidden?
Well, the coolest thing that I thought was that there's because our team name, Grace wife Ever and I, we are Todd and Margot.
Of course.
And yes, the names of our
I
cats.
don't know.
But also
Margot.
from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Right.
And but the person who was there early May called Coke Lover. That's their team name. And they would leave little Coke bottles. You can leave something in the cache too if you want, or take something. One was just a whole bunch of erasers. One time I took it was a Superman keychain, which is super badass. I still have it. It's really nice. It's a nice Superman logo. And I took that. And I think we left, I don't know, a quarter. But you go and get things. You can get things specifically for that. We've gone to the dollar store to specifically get trinkets and things you can leave for geocache. But Coke Lover had found all the ones that we had just 2 or 3 weeks before us and left a little Coke bottle in each one of those, and which was kind of cool. I didn't take it though because I wanted to leave that for somebody else. But it was really awesome.
Like little Coke bottle?
Yeah, like that big. I'm not kidding.
Baby
like
Coke
big.
bottle. I got you. Okay.
And it was, I know. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I could go for a Coke right now.
Right?
when you're out in the middle of the woods. So we did geocaching. So I did have some exercise while we were out camping. Yeah, nice. Beth just said it sounds like fun. Yeah, just download the app. It's called Geocache, GeoCache, I think. Mm-hmm. And then you do have to pay to be on a premium site. You do have to pay, but it's like a minimum. Gosh, I don't even know what it is. We're on auto renewal anyway, so and there are tons around where we are. The historical societies put out stuff when around like battlefields and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing. And we found a bunch in our area. So now when we're driving by, we're like, well, there's a geocache in that, and there's a geocache over there. You just realize and all the stuff that's around us.
Nice.
And we found a whole bunch in Florida when we go and visit our friends in Florida. But anyway, those are my camping stories. So my question I threw up on that sounds gross, but the question that I posted up on, let me get to the page.
Well, at least you had nice weather.
Huh?
At least you had nice weather.
Yeah, right. Okay, I was going to ask you about that. So tell me, because you're in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So you're off the coast of South Carolina on an island in Island.
Right. Almost.
You've been nailed by a couple of hurricanes that have swung by, and arms have come out and smacked the island in recent history.
Right.
So what happened this weekend?
No, it just was crazy. It was supposed to be a rainy day, and it turned out to almost be a tropical storm here. I think there was a big surprise. The meteorologists kind of, sort of downplayed it, whatever. And if you look online, there's like some big footage of the Carnival Sunshine off the coast of South Carolina and Charleston being tossed around in the waves, and lower decks flooding and things like that. So we had 45-mile-an-hour winds here in Hilton Head, and sustained off the coast, they were like 60 or 65. So it was crazy. Like, we didn't expect it. So we had kind of 2 days of sort of rain, and it felt like fall hurricane season. But I mean, I guess technically, are we in hurricane season? When does that run from? I should know.
We're going to get there soon.
We're pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, technically when you're in the start of summer, right?
I think, but I'm one of those guys. Summer doesn't start until mid-June.
Well, I mean, you live up there.
No, summer doesn't start officially until mid-June.
Why is that?
The 22nd? The 22nd of June. It's the equinox.
Vernal equinox?
No.
Well, it's either vernal or autumnal.
Summer solstice.
Okay. So then
that's the longest day of the year. And then from June 21st to 22nd, then it starts getting shorter.
But that's no fun.
I'm just saying that's when
the days leading up to that, where the days get really long. That's not summer.
I know. I love long days. I love the sun setting when I go outside and it's 9 o'clock. Over on the East Coast, it changes though. It's different in like Florida. I've noticed because of
It
where
is
they are on the Earth.
closer to the
How far they are away from.
Yes.
Yeah. Even though we're on the same parallel, I believe.
Well, you know what's funny? I'll
latitude.
be watching
longitude,
morning news
longitude.
or whatever, and sun will be up here, and I'll be watching a show in New York City, and it'll be dark outside still.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's
Okay.
the globe.
So I'm one of those guys. And I also observe Half Christmas, which will be June 25th. It's called Leon.
Right. Halfway to
Noel backwards.
Halfway to the holidays.
Exactly. All right. And I'll be playing some holiday. We'll be playing some holiday music on the podcast. Trust me.
Awesome.
Okay. So on our Facebook page, the Ron Ross radio show Facebook page, we have some comments. Lynn said that she's a tent camper, no car registration, pop-up or trailer, no vehicle to maintain, changing the oil, etc. We loved our pop-up tent. However, with a snorer in the household, I'm always worried about bothering others. So we're now going to upgrade to a smaller trailer. It's nice keeping things in the trailer, easier to pack up and go and keep things stocked. I'll give you that, because when the greatest wife ever and I pack, as we're packing, because we got to bring everything from downstairs, the basement, up to the main living level, the staging area. She's got a list, 3 pages of lists of everything to take camping. And then we got to walk it out to the car. And then she's got to Tetris it into the SUV. Okay. We've got a camp kitchen. We've got, there's the tent. Finally got to downsize the tent. So I can put it up by myself in less than a minute or 2. It's one of those. It's got the telescoping poles to put up. It's really, really, really nice. I really enjoy it. But we've got so many things to take, and we always like, why do we do this? But we set up, and our tent camping area became like the main gathering point for all the families. So they had their tents on their site, but then we had a couple of pop-ups, and we had that big griddle stove, and we had our camp kitchen, and that's where the campfires were, and all our chairs, and it was great. So in the middle of that, then we look at each other like, yes, this is why we do this. I literally just unpacked. We took a couple of things out of the car yesterday, but really it was just race in because we want to watch the finish of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I'll get into that in just a second. More comments. Sherry Settlemar. Hey, Sherry, on our Facebook page, Ron Ross Radio Show. RV, don't have to go outside to pee. Well, that's a very good point. You have to go down to the bathhouse. Well, if you're a dude, it's really not an issue, as long as you're not in a crowded area. Jennifer just posted on our Facebook page, or actually up here you can see the comment that says tent camping was fun in college as it was low stress, anything goes kind of deal. Now as an older adult, it sounds like too much bother. LOL. I'm
with Jennifer.
Okay.
I agree.
We're still tent campers. Look, we've looked at pop-ups. We've looked at other vehicles that we could camp in. We just haven't pulled the trigger on that. So we're just going to basically do what we're doing, which is the tent camping. We do it once or twice a year, fold it into a 3-day holiday weekend. We're probably trying to get away Labor Day. So now I did mention that we got into the house so we could watch the end of Succession, HBO television series, which ended on Sunday. It was the series finale. And then we watched Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which ended their run on Friday, but we watched it, and that's Amazon Prime, I think. We watched that last night as well. I'm bummed when shows like this end. Not so much because of the ending, but because it has ended. And I understand things have to go for a run and then they end. I mean, boy, do I understand that now. But right? But it was their choice though to end these shows and on this arc. And then Ted Lasso is going to end on Wednesday. Will be the last one. And I think Barry ended as well. I got to go back and get into all of the Barry.
Don't know what Barry is. What's a Barry?
Barry is on HBO. That
Okay.
is Bill Hader. And Bill Hader, it's a dark comedy. It's really dark, but dark comedy. He is a hitman who hides. I'm not giving anything away. This is the first episode. He hides in California and he gets into an acting class as his cover, but he finds that he likes acting. So, and that's it. That's all
funny.
I'm going to leave it as.
That's pretty funny. You know what else just ended? I'm a little late on it. Picard, which was it was the reuniting of the whole. It was like the last of the Next Generation.
I didn't watch any of those.
You go back. It's really good.
Well, it's there. It's what, Paramount Plus?
Yeah, Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
It was 3 seasons of Picard, and the last one was the best. If you were a TNG, the Next Generation watcher, so.
Right, I know. There's so many. It's Greatest Wife Ever and I are like, there's too much. It's too much to try to keep up on, to keep track of, especially with what I was doing, which was trying to, I'm interviewing these people who are on these shows, and some I had seen, some I hadn't seen. I had to fake it. And I did. I mean, I got busted. I got busted by one actress, and I'm going to go ahead and call her out.
Here we go.
Angie Harmon on Rizzoli and Isles. And I'm talking to her, and in the middle of the conversation, we're talking about the show, and it was going into the 3rd season or something like that. Excuse me. No cough button. So she's in the middle of this talking to me, and she goes, well, you don't watch the show. And I'm like, I didn't have anything to come back with. I'm like, well, so let me ask you, Angie, you listen to my show?
Oh no. Did you go there?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. And she was just like, all right, touche. And we moved on. But
good.
Still,
a good comeback. Thinking on the feet there. That was very nice.
Busted.
I would have said, just on principle of the name, I hated the name of that show.
Rizzoli and Isles?
Yeah, I don't know what. It it doesn't sound like a TV show. It sounds like a restaurant that you go to. It looked like
a good show.
I know, and I loved her too. I loved Angie Harmon.
She was on Law and Order for like 1,000 years. What is going on? I feel like
I don't know. We're gonna have to work on that cough button, people.
Pardon me.
It's all right. This will become the John Taylor radio show, which was my radio name.
John Taylor. Tailor-Made Tuesday.
Tailor-Made Tuesday.
So I was bummed out, and I'm not going to get in any of it in case you haven't watched any of the shows, and I never spoil anything on the air, so let me just say that right off the bat. But I was furiously texting daughter the younger last night because she loves Succession, and her Twitter handle is Shiv Roy. If you watch the show, then you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. And I'm just texting her back and forth like, oh my God, she's not answering me last night. So she answered me this morning. And then it was just this barrage of blah, 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 blah. Because I'm like, I don't know how I feel. And she's like, oh no, it was great. Blah, blah, blah. So it was wonderful to get into that discussion with someone who's actually watched the show. And Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, we've decided we're just gonna go back and watch it from the very beginning. I just love the whole vibe of that whole thing. New York in the late 50s, early 60s. The actor, in my humble opinion, well, Tony Shalhoub was on top of his game. Kevin Pollak, I've loved him forever and a day. Of course, was it Rachel Brosnahan, who's the star, is amazing. And but the actor, and I should know his name, but who plays Lenny Bruce, I think should get an Emmy if he hasn't already gotten an Emmy. He's tremendous in the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So we're gonna just go back, watch it from the beginning because it was just. And somebody brought up a really good point because there was a lot of time hopping in this last season. So there was a point where it was 2005. I'm not giving anything away. It's 2005. And somebody brought up in the review that was like, oh, because Shirley, who was her name? What's her name? Palladino, who created this show, also created Gilmore Girls. So 2005 would have put Marvelous Mrs. Maisel in Gilmore Girls would have been on TV at that time, which I thought would have been a really cool Easter egg if that show had just popped up on but it didn't. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. It doesn't show up. But,
I don't think you spoiled anything there.
All right.
You're
good.
all right.
I'll be bracing for Ted Lasso. I'm going to be very, very sad to see that go. Have you watched that show?
Negative. Everyone who keeps telling me to watch it. So, you have your dance card, right?
Right.
You have your slots. You only have so many slots and so much time to be able to do stuff. So you pick and choose, and then you move on to other stuff. But occasionally, like you said, squirrel, you get distracted, you start watching something else and you forget about it. But everyone has said, I got to watch that. So
Sherry just posted a comment. Hello, Ron and Sherry from Saskatchewan. See, I know how to pronounce it now because I was hanging out with Jason this weekend, who's from New Brunswick. So he was explaining to me, because I would always say Saskatchewan, and he's like, no, it's not Saskatchewan. So, all right, I think I got it. But thank you, Sherry. Thank you for your comment. And thank you for hanging out. You were just joining us. It's the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast. And this is season 1, episode 2 that is happening. And this is probably where it's going to live live, is Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. And then you can find it anywhere you get your podcast. You'll be able to get the audio. We're streaming now on YouTube right now and Facebook live. And then you'll be able to find the recorded version a little bit later on and the audio version wherever you get your podcast. So also share and tell your friends. And I've seen a bunch of my friends who have done that and share the podcast. And I can't thank them enough for being super supportive. All right, back into it. So Greatest Wife Ever and I have not gone to the movies in quite a while because there's been a little bit of a financial concern. So you start cutting some things out. And I think you know what I'm saying. So here are the top 5 movies of this weekend. And this weekend kicked off the big time summer movie season as well. These are the big movies. Now, they usually fudge it and release a big movie in March and April just to get it out there. Because, the Super Mario Brothers movie came out a while back. And so did, I think, Avatar, right? A while back earlier this year.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but here are your top 5 movies. At number 5, it was The Machine. Comedian Burt Kreischer, Mark Hamill. Am I getting that right?
Is he in there?
In The Machine? Yeah, I think so. Number 4, Super Mario Brothers movie, which huge at the box office, which of course assures that there will be a Super Mario Brothers 2. You know they've already written it and they're working on it right now.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
So good.
It is so good. You want to go see it?
Oh,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
All right.
I don't want to give anything away.
Okay. Well, I still have to watch the Ant-Man Quantumania, which is now available on Disney Plus. So I can go back and watch that, and that'll put me back into the Marvel world because I kind of got out of the Marvel world and I need to get back into it.
Right.
And I saw a big list of everything you need to watch if you want to just watch everything chronologically in the Marvel cinematic universe.
I don't have enough time.
And a lot of it is the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on for a long time and a lot of episodes. And I'm like, God, I didn't watch any of those. And I really need to go back and watch this. Anyway, so Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Here's the interesting thing about that, in my humble opinion. It was directed by James Gunn. James Gunn did the first 2. And everybody loved James Gunn. And who really loved James Gunn was DC. And DC got him. And they had him they brought him over to do the Suicide Squad, the second movie. And he brought his humor and his usual panache to that. And they've hired him. Warner Brothers and DC have put him, and there's another gentleman, Saffron, I forget what his name is, who is in charge of now the DC universe. So all the Zack Snyder movies, the Snyderverse, and all that stuff. And there are some really, really, really great podcasts and dedicated nerds who are way into this more than and have a lot more detail than I do. But anyway, James Gunn is now DC. So he's working on a Superman movie, another reboot, and working on another Batman movie. So you're going to get another Batman, another actor, and this is going to be outside the Robert Pattinson, the Batman. Yeah, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
I can't keep up with that stuff. I just want a good movie.
This was Campfire Talk, by the way, this past weekend.
Was it?
Oh yeah, I was, because there were a couple of guys, and I just pontificated as much as I possibly could about how I love DC, and they have the three biggest superheroes with Batman, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and they have Aquaman, and they have Green Lantern, and they screwed it all up.
They did,
and Marvel built that whole universe around a tertiary character. Iron Man was not a big character he was there and he had comic books, but really Spider-Man, X-Men, they were the big stars of Marvel. And so they built everything around Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. and it's unbelievable what they did. All right, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then you have Fast X at number 2. And number 1, as Disney continued their live action remakes of classic animated films, The Little Mermaid. John, have you seen it?
I have not. John? I am not a fan of live action remakes of animated classics. I personally, being a guy that runs Intercut, by the way, podcast, Intercut, Insider Podcast, plug. Hold on. Wait, let me do this. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, that's a plug. Download the Intercut Insider Podcast, 13 years online. Anyway, I'm not a fan of this. I want original IP. I want new stuff. I'm tired of the reboots. Somebody get creative in Hollywood, would you?
Okay.
All right, that's my rant. I'm done.
All right. I loved Cinderella and the remake. I loved Beauty and the Beast. Aladdin, I'm sorry you didn't have Robin Williams. So yeah, Will Smith is not Robin Williams. So it just didn't, to me, it didn't really translate. Lion King, I did not see. I've not seen the quote unquote live action. I mean, they're animated lions, but still, it's not the painted cells animated.
Well, they don't even do that.
What was the other one? Jungle Book.
Yeah. See, just again,
fail.
You've gone back.
Jungle Book was a fail because I grew up on the Jungle Book, and I Baloo the Bear. I mean, you got Bill Murray, but Bill Murray is not Phil Harris.
No.
And I'm just saying, Phil Harris as Baloo the Bear was perfect. Sebastian Cabot as Bagheera, the Panther. You can't. I mean, I grew up on that. I had the record. Okay, you couldn't. This is how old I am. Okay,
album.
You couldn't get the VHS. There were no VHS players. Your mom and dad would buy you the album, and there was narration, and they had songs from it, and some soundtracks and clips from the movie, and you could basically listen to the movie and play it in your head as you were listening to it. It's kind of like reading the book, but not really. And so the Jungle Book, I wasn't a big Jennifer just posted the comment. I have the record too for the Jungle Book. That's true.
You've
Sherry,
got a couple people
posted too that she loved the album. I have the album somewhere. It's around here. Greatest Wife Ever has Alice in Wonderland. So live action Disney films that are no, John's giving.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I realize they make a lot of money doing them, and people seem to like them. It's just not my thing. I yearn for the days of hand-drawn animation, which is never coming back again.
Well, I'm going to post on our Facebook page and give us your 5-second review. I want to know what you thought of The Little Mermaid. I haven't got. Now, I went to Daughter of the Elder, and that's the movie she grew up on. Okay. Do you want to go see it? Because we took her to go see Cinderella. She loved that. and we took everybody, both girls, to go see Beauty and the Beast. Do you want to go see Little Mermaid? Absolutely not, she said. Okay. I guess she just wants to be in the animated world, and that's the one she grew up on, and that's the one she loves, so that's the one she digs on. So there you go.
There are very few reboots that I'm into. I just am not generally a reboot kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean I really got burned on the when they did. I mean, you had to do the Dark Knight when they brought those, and I'm out of the Disney World now. So they had to, because this is after George Clooney claims that he killed the Batman franchise. So they started over a bunch of years later in Batman and Robin. They started it over with Christopher Nolan directing, and then you had Christian Bale and the Dark Knight trilogy. And then you had Zack Snyder came in, and then you had a Ben Affleck, a different Batman, and whom, by the way, I think is the best Batman. I'm just throwing it out there. So that's the hill I will die on. And but where I really got burned was after Spider-Man 3, with the Tobey Maguire. Then just like 2 years later, they just went, oh, well, we got a new guy. It's going to be Andrew Garfield now, and the Amazing Spider-Man. And I'm like, why? And then they did that with the Hulk, Incredible Hulk, and then they rebooted that and got a new Hulk. And I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? It's like, this one didn't take. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I hope the audience is into Marvel stuff.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. I went off on a tangent.
It happens.
Anyway, I will tell you about the 5-second review. I will post it up and give us your 5-second review and tell me what you thought of whatever you've seen. But Little Mermaid, or if you've seen Fast X, there's another. Well, they just keep churning those out. Or Guardians of the Galaxy, Super Mario Brothers, any of those. I'd love to get your 5-second reviews and post those, and we will go through those. All right, it's time to get the gray matter working, fire off the synapses, engage the frontal lobe, form new neural networks, utilize the cerebrum. As Pooh says, it's time to
think.
It's the dun pulse question of the. Oh, did you hear what I said? Not
you did
thinking.
It. Wow. Talk about
thinking. I was on autopilot there.
All right, Dr. Freud.
Autopilot. Wow. It's not there, Craig. It's my question of the day.
It is.
Mine.
Right.
Mine. I created it. I wrote it. Here it is. Wow, that's embarrassing. The mainland U.S.'s, this is important. The mainland U.S.'s lowest point at 100 feet below sea level is only an hour's drive from the highest point in mainland U.S. at 14,787 feet above sea level. Name either one. Name both for a bonus pride, not prize. All right. Hold on. One more time. I got to reiterate the question.
All right, hold on. Go ahead.
The mainland U.S.'s lowest point at 100 feet below sea level is only an hour's drive from the highest point at 14,787 feet. Name either one, name both for bonus, pride, not prize. And again, this is on mainland, the contiguous 48 states. All right. Here we go. You get a little thinking music.
And good luck.
Hey, good luck.
And good luck. The answers are flowing in, Ron.
Okay, here we go.
All right. What do you
What's your first
you
one?
think? All right. The first one was Beth Rhodes. Beth Rhodes says
Death Valley lowest point. That's correct. There you go. Woohoo! At 100 feet below sea level.
very nice.
That's right. But if you're in the middle of Death Valley and you take an hour's drive, you will be at the highest point. Any guesses? Oh, we got some golf clap.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, Jennifer. It's not the Grand Canyon. It's Death Valley. Beth is posing. Jennifer said she was thinking Grand Canyon too. No, it's Death Valley, 100 feet below sea level. But then at 14,787 feet above sea level, only an hour away. Anyone? Well, we'll just let that sit there. All right. So earlier, I alluded to the fact that I had a big fat hairy announcer. So it's not Mount McKinley. That is in, first of all, it's called Denali. Thank you, Christine. We call it Denali now. It's in Alaska. Alaska is not part of the 48 contiguous states. So it's got to be in the 48 in the mainland U.S. But you're right. That is the highest point in the U.S., but it's in Alaska. Okay. Big fat hairy announcement. Are you ready? Here we go. No, John, no drum roll.
I don't have a drum roll here.
No.
Let me see. Nope. I'm looking. Hold on. We
Let's
can do this. We can do this. Hold on.
Drum roll.
This just in.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead.
I got a gig. Yay!
What?
I got a job. I've been talking with these people for, like the past 3 months. I've had initial conversations, and then we've had more conversations, and then we came to an agreement. So I'm going to be the new afternoon drive guy. That's right. I'm not doing mornings. I'll be doing the new afternoon drive guy at a radio station called Key 103 right here in my hometown in Frederick, Maryland. And I don't know if it's ironic or if it's appropriate, but it's at the same radio station company that I started my career 40 years ago in August, if you can believe that. Manning Broadcasting. Fred Manning is Fred's the VP, or no, he's the president, CEO. He's like the big. It's his company, okay? So they own a bunch of radio stations. One of the other stations where that they own is called Eagle 106.9.
I know that one.
And that's where John and I met. And that's where I started my career. I was there at it was at the time it was a rock station called 107X. I think I talked about it in the last podcast. 107X marks the rock. WXCS Hagerstown, Frederick. When John was there, with change the format.
It was Magic 106.9 FM. Always 4 great songs in a row and no talk.
That's right. John was it was Taylor Made Tuesday. And but anyway, I'm going to be on Key 103, and it's going to be afternoons, 4 p to 7 p Eastern. And that is, and I say Eastern because, and here's where you come in. You can listen wherever you are for free. Okay. There's no paywall. You don't have to pay a dime. It's a free app. It's a free app on your phone. Put in Key 103. I literally just downloaded it. And here, let me see if I can find it. Okay.
Yeah, Beth, you'll be able to listen online. She was upset because she thought she wouldn't be able to listen.
Oh, there it is. Can you see my app?
Don't work
anyway, you can't see my app.
No.
Key 103. Search for it. All right. And yes, you can listen online because the address is did I write it down? Key103radio.com, I believe. Key103radio.
You'll get that.
.com. Okay, and there's a listen live. You can listen on your computer, you can listen on your phone, you can listen in your car if you'd like, if you Bluetooth it into your radio. And I'm just saying, it's free. Free.
It's free.
Okay? Key 103. I'm so excited. I got to talk to these guys for quite a while, working with the operations manager, Mike. Mike and I sat down and had a bunch of conversations, and I just felt valued and respected and wanted. And these people are just a great bunch to be working with. So I'm going to be, for the Frederick area, I'm going to be live and local. And that's another thing. I'm going to be live, which means phones are back, baby. I will have phones, and you'll be able to call me, and we can play all the games that we've played before. We can play. We'll do the question of the day, and I'm going to do top 5 movie reviews. We're going to have the celebrity game is going to be back. We're going to have the movie game. name 5 and 5. I mean, the mind is real. I'm trying to remember all the games that I used to play. But we'll be able to have head-to-head competition. And yes, good question, James. James just posted. He says it's the same format. It is the same format as where I used to work. However, it's a little better because they play. We play. I'm now part of the team. My favorite pop divas from the early 2K. So you got some Kelly Clarkson rocking in there, and you've got I really enjoy the format. And what else?
I wanted to point out something here.
Yeah, hit me.
This is not going to go away, though.
No. The podcast is here. It's us.
Yeah,
we're doing the podcast
to be able to get up close, intimate with Ron, and to listen in a longer format. The podcast is not going away. But
no, in fact,
the best of both worlds, right?
Exactly. In fact, yeah, you don't have all that pesky music in between.
People like the music.
People love the music. People love the music, and especially you can only take me in small doses. So this is perfect for you. Actually, if you enjoy the show, and that is Jennifer asked what time I'm going to be on. She posted. I'm going to post all of this. I'm going to post radio station logos and times I'm on, and all that stuff is coming. But it's going to be 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. So noon to 4 your time? You're in California, noon to 4. So I'm doing a lunchtime show for you. But yeah, I'm going to be back on. I'm back on a daily show, and we're going to be doing this podcast that John, again, I can't thank him enough for helping me put this all together. Actually, not helping, basically doing it all. And I sit here and do this while he has it up posted on
what I do, Ron.
All the places where you can find your podcast.
Right.
And all this, again, is going to go up on my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I will post all that information. And then for future discussions, I will also pose questions like we were talking about camping and whether you do a tent or an RV. And I'll be putting up questions like that because there was a bunch of topics. I've been keeping notes of things that I want to talk about. I just couldn't fit it all into today's podcast. Excuse me, but there's so much that you and I will be able to hang and chat about. And then also coming in future podcasts is I will have some guests on, some of my friends.
See, that's where it'll get cool too. No, the cough button. We're going to work on that. Ron has a mixing board that he's going to get hooked up eventually that will have a little button on it to mute.
Oh, for the coughing. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. But it'll be cool to be able to get longer form with some of the artists. I mean, Ron probably, am I allowed to share what happened when we were with a certain person?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
That's
but, it was very surreal, folks, because the other day we were practicing and doing the things that we do for the podcast. And Ron gets a phone call and he holds it up to the screen and it's Lisa Loeb. Yeah. I'm like, what? It's Lisa Loeb. And so I'm sitting there and Ron's talking to Lisa Loeb.
Yeah.
Who sounds like a lovely person.
I made John wait.
I know. I'm like sitting here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So, and if you don't know,
cool.
Where I used to work, I also was the program director of 90s on 9. And for a short time, I did Pop 2K. So on 90s on 9, I brought Lisa Loeb over to the channel. I had talked to her manager, Janet, who was wonderful. And we developed the show. And I talked with, and I worked with Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. And
good guy too.
And Downtown Julie Brown, formerly of MTV, and she's got a daily show on 90s on 9. So she checks in with me every now and then and makes inappropriate jokes. I'm kidding, she doesn't really.
No, I'll bet you she does.
But Lisa,
she probably does.
But Lisa called, and it was great to talk to her because we don't talk about business. We talk about the kids and the what's going on in your life and
Ron has cool friends. That's what being on that national radio show for years would
do. Now, okay. And this brings up a point too, because I mean, you're a cool friend, John. I mean, I put everybody in the same pot. If you're gonna pay attention to me and talk to me and you like me, okay. Everybody's everybody. Okay. I don't really differentiate between
right. Okay.
It's true.
No,
all right, you know what?
I know what you're saying, but still, I'm just saying, just how cool is that? Like you're
very
sitting
cool.
there and Lisa Loeb calls.
Lisa's cool. She's a great songwriter. She's got a #1 song.
You say.
And she's continuing to work today. She works in like 5 different areas. She's acting, and she's got a podcast, and she's got her daily show on 90s09, and she's out playing a bunch of shows. And she's just she's a cool person, really cool person. And I love talking to her because she's a mom now. She's got 2 kids, so we talk about a lot parenting stuff and stuff like that. But Lisa will be on the show. And nice. I've already asked if she would like to come on the show, so we'll have Lisa on the show. I've got an invitation out to a couple of friends. The one I really want to get, and I didn't know she was in town, is she was in Washington, D.C. She played at the Memorial Day parade, and that was Colby Calais. So I'm gonna go through some channels, official channels, see if we can get her on the show. She's touring right now. She did a 15-year tour where she just played her first album, Coco. And if you listened to the podcast last week, then you know that Colby Calais was my first interview when I was at XM back in the day. And so I'm going to try real hard to see if we can get her as a guest, and which would be fun to catch up with her because she's got a new album out, and she's doing a tour, and she's just a cool person to hang out with. And that's about it of what we got going on for this week for the podcast. Remember to please share with your friends and your family. Let them know. And this lives wherever you get your podcasts. We're streaming on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch this back on YouTube and watch it back on Facebook and wherever you get your podcasts. And we have the audio version is going to be out tomorrow, I believe.
Something like
so
that.
You can listen to it while you get your steps in, throw your earbuds in, and walk around.
Yep.
And I'll be posting still on the Ron Ross Radio Facebook page. And I'll still be throwing some questions of the day up there and discussion topics and all of that for the podcast. And then I will put up a graphic and let you know where you will be able to find me starting Friday. Friday is going to be my first day on Key 103 for the Friday celebration. And I'll be singing the Friday song, and Dean the bartender will be there. And because it's open bar every single Friday. And gosh, it's summertime, so I'll probably be wearing my red, white, and blue Speedo. We haven't determined that yet, but still, it'll be an afternoon show on Key 103, 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can download the app, and you can listen online, key103radio.com, starting Friday. And then I'll be posting on our Facebook page a little bit later on today. And you'll be able to find me tomorrow. And then this podcast will be back next week, next Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. And thank you so much. And we love you so much. Thanks for listening.